Jordan, 2 weeks off, the game looked refreshed. I know there's probably some husband and dad duties in there, but what did you work on that maybe translated to the golf course?
Quite a bit of putting. You know, I played really well at the British. I mean, tee to green, I played well enough to win, and I didn't feel like I missed many of my lines. I just couldn't quite get the matching of the line and speed on the greens. And now we come to slopey Bermuda, and very very fast slopey Bermuda, where I feel a little more comfortable picking lines and kind of feeding the ball in using gravity. And I think that helped, along with quite a bit of work as best I could in Texas right now, which is really from the hours of 7 a.m. to noon before it's almost unbearable. So just tighten some things up. I try to play a lot just to shoot scores. I'd kind of taken off playing a bunch in the last couple weeks.
You mentioned super and slopey, but it's also wet out there.
So, yeah, I mean, it was kind of, we're maybe backing off a few pins that sometimes if you hit the fairway, you look to attack, and then just wait for kind of the wedge holes. But, you know, the pivotal holes where you get wedge in your hand, if you hit a nice drive, you're looking to attack. I did hit the fairways on those holes, and that was important. And then the really hard ones, you know, you're just trying to get on the surface and tap in for par.
Good start. Thanks for your time.
Thanks.
Hey, Jordan, you just were saying that you played a lot at home to shoot some scores. What kind of scores and what kind of confidence do you get from shooting those scores? What are you looking for?
Pretty good. It started to get better and better. I played, you know, around with Tom Kim. I played around with Scotty. We had a few other games with some other guys that aren't pros, and just tried to kind of get some competition. I mean, I did that a ton in the spring, and then, you know, when I had kind of my wrist thing, I was trying to rest, and then I just found that I wasn't playing a ton in that break between U.S. Open and Scottish Open, and so I just got to the Scottish. I felt like things were good, but I just wasn't scoring, so it was pretty frustrating. And some of that just has to do with, you know, knocking putts in, and some of it has to do with actually getting out there and not just being on a driving range or a putting green. So I felt like the more I'm playing at home and not having to work on a ton of stuff, the better it comes out to the course here.
Any scores you want to report that were exceptional?
You know, I played Merido a few times, which is, you know, diabolically difficult. So it's not like I was going out necessarily having to shoot 8 or 9 under. It was more relative to the course, and I had a couple nice rounds out there. Yeah, I mean, you know, 5, 6 unders a couple times, 5, 6, 7s, a couple rounds around 1 or 2 around even or 2 under. So, but those were earlier, and but no, nothing like newsworthy.
Does that build confidence though?
Yeah, I mean, you can be playing really well and go home and just like randomly have a couple bad rounds playing in a game or something, but for the most part, it's a pretty good gauge on form. And you just, you know, on a driving range, if I miss a shot 5 yards right of the pin that I'm trying not to go right of, I just hit another ball. But on the course, you know, you're in trouble. And so getting competition with some high-level players is something I've always tried to do at home. This isn't anything new. I just hadn't done a ton of it in the last month or so. And Cameron was like, look, playing Trump, seeing me, you know, I'm here these days. You know, we'll work a couple days, but go out and find some games and play, even if you have to leave town. And fortunately, I was able to stay in town and do that.
How did you do financially in those games?
Just fine.
I guess that's the measure.
Yeah, just fine.
Just a quick one on putting in a course of a round like this, and you had a nice score. Where do you put value over some of the 8-10 footers, a couple of the ones you made for par, over some of your birdie putts?
Yeah, I didn't feel like I was stepping into any putt thinking like par or birdie and thinking it was different from the other, which is really a good sign. I don't want to feel, you know, like I have to make the par putts and then you don't on the birdie. Like, I want them to all feel the same. They all felt like I'm going to do what I can. I'm going to pick my line and speed and put the stroke, and I'm going to do everything. I'm going to do everything in my power, and if it goes in, great. If it doesn't, you know, so be it. And my stroke's in a good spot. It's just a matter of doing enough work on the practice green there of performance putting where you start to see them drop in using the right matching the right line and speed. So I thought, obviously, 17 was a really nice one. I thought, 12 I got a kind of a tough break and made a really nice par putt, maybe from about 10 feet, and then 17 made a nice one as well. I mean, they feel better than the birdie putts. They really do. But as I went into them, it was, I'm just going to try to control what I can control.
And this probably goes to what you just said about kind of scores relative to the golf course, but I think the 63 today is tied for your lowest round of the year. Does it feel like the best round of the year or among the best rounds of the year? I
was telling Michael maybe sometime on the back nine, I was like, I feel good, but it doesn't quite feel as tight as some of the days in the last week or so, ball striking. And then all of a sudden, I ended up hitting, a good one on 15 and then chipping in on 16, and all of a sudden now it's 3 strokes better. So it's like, how can you not? So, I think it was solid, but I will say that I was using I used the heel of the driver a lot today, and I don't want to keep doing that. I've been driving the ball really, really nicely, and everything kind of goes from there. If I feel really confident stepping into a driver, getting in front of some shots and hitting some nice ones, that normally feeds to the rest of the bag. So I'd like to improve a bit on just where, I hit some fairways, but I hit some, pretty far off the heel, and then I towed one on 17. So just kind of getting some contact, getting on the middle of the face again.
You and Justin were kind of in the same spot on 16 there. Were you always going to play it that way, or did you maybe change after how you hit this one?
No, even with lift clean in place, I was able to put it on a down grain spot, but with the way that green is, I hit that shot 3 or 4 times to that pin on Tuesday, and obviously a different condition. It was more wet now, but with how steep it was and how grainy it was where it was going to land, it didn't play much different. And I was never thinking about going high on that, just because I think the closest I could get on, if I played it the way I wanted to, was like 10 feet. And with the one I was hitting, I thought a bad shot, if I committed to hitting hard enough, a bad shot would be about 15 long.
I feel like the second I made it over that ridge, your body language changed a bit.
Then I kind of looked to see if it's right on line, and then as it was kind of moving in, it was cool. Yeah, it's cool when you sit there and you're like, I know that this is a shot I don't want to have, but I could very much have, and it's not a great spot, so let me just go ahead and see. You hit the exact shot to the exact pin, and then you find it. It's a really cool feeling. It was a neat shot.
Did you get a chance to see any of the St. Jude kids earlier in the week? Just kind of your experience?
Yeah, we did. I did an event with John Rahm at one of the FedEx hangars, and there were a couple of I think they call them Purple Heart St. Jude recipients that kind of have a connection to FedEx too. So a couple of the kids there, and my wife went with Laura Moses, who runs the foundation with her and works with me. They went to St. Jude yesterday. And so I went a few years ago, but I didn't go to the hospital this year, but was hearing all about it.
You got a chance to get in the pool this week?
The pool? Yeah, we put, our temporary pool. Yeah, I have.
Do you have any pictures?
Yeah.
You can share it.
I could show you. I'm not going to send them to you. Not the most flattering.
Jordan, this excerpt from this book about Phil Mickelson's The Chocolate Golf World, what was the discussion like in the locker room at all about it?
I would say people were maybe a bit surprised at the amount of. I haven't really seen a whole lot on it. I just saw what some people sent me and stuff, and it was so quick this morning that even if I wanted to comment, I don't think it's a good idea.
Thank you.